So what's going on, guys? I've got a So what's up, guys? I've got a rallycross coming up here next weekend. So I bought a skid plate for the Fiesta, and I noticed there wasn't a whole lot of skid plate installs for the new Fiesta ST. So I figured I'd make one. SkidPlateGuy on Facebook, he's pretty well renowned in the rallycross and rally world. That he makes really good plates, really awesome pieces, and I have no complaints about this one. I'm going to do a quick install video for him, so no talking, let's get back to work. One quick bit before I get started here, I just want to look at the quality of this plate. This plate is awesome. It's stamped aluminum, 4mm thick. It's a pretty good size thickness. It should be able to take some pretty good hits. And it's really well made. I like the vents cut in the front of it to get some airflow underneath it. And it's a well made kit. It comes with all the hardware you need to mount it. And it's a really nice piece. I like little flared fittings up here too, so I can attach some flaps to it and keep rocks from underneath it. But overall, really enjoy the quality of it. It's not super heavy. I can pick it up pretty easily with one hand. It's very shiny aluminum piece. Very happy with the quality. So let's get to putting this thing on. When you order a skid plate from SkidPlateGuy, Christopher sends you an awesome kit. Comes with all the hardware, all neatly packed. Excellent stickers, refrigerator magnet, and he even gives you a printout here in case you didn't get the email. But he actually gives you a detailed email full of pictures and all the information on how to install it, including torque values and all that good stuff. All the hardware here, everything you need. Very easy kit, very awesome kit, and I could not recommend this enough. This is a great kit. This is much better than just asking some local yokel to make you a kit, because it definitely won't turn out with this kind of quality. So the first and easiest step is I went ahead and put the Fiesta up on ramps just to get it up out of the way. I didn't want to put it up on jack stands because I think this will be just fine with one set of ramps, but you can do it with jack stands, or if you have access to a lift, you can go ahead and do that as well. So once you get underneath the Fiesta, you can actually see how exposed everything is. The oil pan is tucked up in there, but it is very susceptible to rock hits still. And in rallycross, you never know what's going to hit, and you never know what kind of terrain you're going to end up on. So a skid plate is always a great idea for this thing, especially being, you know, a small car like it is. So let's go ahead and grab the skid plate and start seeing what we're looking at, and then I'll look at the instructions and make sure we're good. So looking at these brackets, it looks like from the drawing provided that you need them in the swept back position. So we'll go backwards like so, where this angle is pointing toward the back. First you start with these by putting them in the boxed frame up front, and I'll show you that now. And you can see I've done the same here next to the washer fluid reservoir. You just simply feed it up in there. Now you'll feed the small washer, one of two in the kit, plus this lock nut. And be careful with lock nuts because they're only good for one or two tighten downs. So if you end up have to take it on and off a couple times, probably a good idea to go ahead and get a new one. But whenever you take the skid plate off, you won't actually be taking this part off. You'll be leaving these brackets in, so they'll be more of a permanent fix for you. So you won't have to worry about those as much. But just a quick pro tip, just in case you have to take this nut off a couple times. Alright, I've got it started. I'm just going to let it sit there because it's starting to get on the locking feature, and I don't want to crank it down yet because I want to leave this bracket pretty loose so I can align everything just right. And I'll repeat the same step with the other side, but I'm not going to record that. So when you get this diagram, you see that this is the hole they want you to put the bracket in, and as you can see, it's a nice flat bracket with a threaded hole. And it's kind of tricky, you can't really see, but there's a bar right here also inside the hole, so you can't just drop it in like you'd imagine. It's going to have to kind of set at an angle. So what I plan on doing is use this pick. He actually says in the email to have a magnet ready, but I'm actually going to try the pick first before I go to the magnet, because my magnet's a little bulkier than this pick, and I think I can work with the pick a little better. So I'm going to feed this up in here like so. Very carefully. Oops, I may not let him too carefully. And there we go. Just got it started. You don't want to tighten it too bad because the skid plate has slots on it, so you can actually slide it in like this. So you don't want to tighten it too much just yet, but you want to make sure your threads are engaged, and I have enough threads engaged there. You'll do the same step on the other side. But like again, I'm not gonna record that just to record it, but you see what I'm doing here. I know I said I wasn't gonna record this, but I kind of pushed it up there a little far, and I actually found a secret. You can't really reach in there from over here. You can't really get in there any other way. But if you go in this hole, the bonus hole, you can actually scooch that bracket over a little bit. Just don't get your fingers stuck. And then you can kind of dance it with your pick a little bit there. So that's just a little help in case you actually push it up there a little bit further like I just did. Alright, so the bolts are threaded into the plates on both sides here. So I'm going to go ahead and get the skid plate and slide it in here in the back, and then I'll lift up the front and attach it to the front brackets we installed earlier. You can now see that I have the skid plate nice and loosely installed. I'm going to kind of center it up a little bit, but all the bolts are very easy to get to still. You got the two there at the bottom, and you got the two up top here in the front of the car. And this plate was well enough designed, these brackets were well enough done, that you can still access that bolt up there to tighten it into the boxed frame. We'll go ahead and torque these down, and then I'll start in the back and torque those down, and then torque these last. And as with all his kits, all the torques are already called out, but I'll go ahead and in sequence, I'll call them out as I torque them down. So for the front bolts, I'm using a 13mm plus extension and a Chinesium torque wrench from the Horrible Freight. This one, the front bolts, the smaller ones, the M8s, are going to be torqued to 17 foot-pounds, and the actual plate bolts are going to be torqued down to 34 foot-pounds with a, I think a 17mm socket. And lastly, I'm going to go ahead and set the torque wrench to 34 foot-pounds and torque down the remaining 4 bolts that are actually attached to the plate to the car. Let's start in the back. And the last bit of the install is of course, is a sticker. There you go. Well guys, that was it. The skid plate's on. It's all straightened up, all torqued down, all the bolts look great. It's a crazy good kit. The quick testimonial, I mean, I haven't even beat it up yet. I haven't even had a chance to go thrash on it yet, but coming from a guy who's made his own skid plate before for the wagon, this is a great kit. I think I paid just a touch over $400 shipped. I think it's like $415, $420, somewhere in there. And to me, that's completely worth it for this kit. The kit's easy to follow. All the stuff works. It's really easy. It took me maybe 30 minutes to install, and that's maybe. And that's only because I kind of took my time. Plus, I'm trying to make a video out of it too, so it won't take you very long at all, especially if you're even halfway mechanically inept. So, I highly recommend this kit. I built my own skid plate for the wagon out of steel. The wagon skid plate took me about 2.5 days to build and completely get installed, and that was a lot of fabrication and guesswork, and it doesn't look nearly as good as that one does. So I highly recommend this kit. His link will be below. SkidPlateGuy Christopher, thank you for this kit. It's been awesome. I can't wait to go thrash on it. So if you're new to my channel and this is the first time you're seeing me, welcome. Please subscribe for the Fiesta because it's going to get a lot of action this year. It's going to have a lot of races. Doing rallycross in a few states this year. And eventually it's going to be a stage car, so stay tuned guys. But keep this short, just kind of a breakdown of how to install a skid plate from SkidPlateGuy, and a huge tip of the hat and huge thank you for him, because I mean, it was shipped out. I put my order in, and within 10 minutes he had a label printed and ready to be shipped. That kind of turnaround, that kind of customer service. He answered my question immediately. I asked him on Facebook if he had any Fiesta ST plates around. Gave me a price. I said, yes, I want it. He shipped it out immediately. That's the kind of customer service that this community needs. So thank you, Christopher. Thank you for all the kit. And go buy a skid plate from this guy, especially if you have Fiesta ST. I know he makes plenty of other ones, but that one's rad. And plus, we're here to kill Subarus. So, anyway, till next time, guys. Peace.